dark. It's coming up dark. I can never get this right. I'm gonna get it right eventually. All right, let me just check it on here. Oh, no, that's okay. It just looks dark on my phone. Maybe my phone setting is down. Okay. Anyway, hi and welcome to my channel, Shades of Sage, where I share and talk about all things motherhood. My name is Tashima McRae. I'm a doula and mama of four, and this is my fourth time breastfeeding. My son, my youngest, is almost 6 months old, and yeah, I'm just a big proponent of breastfeeding. I'm really passionate about breastfeeding. And this week is Black Breastfeeding Week. And so one of the ways that I want to celebrate Black Breastfeeding Week is by going live every single night for this entire week on my channel to talk about breastfeeding. So tonight is night two. And last night we talked about thrush. So if you were there and watched, thank you so much for supporting and watching the first night. Tonight we're going to talk about engorgement and pain during breastfeeding. So if you hear background noise, he is going to distract me to no end. That is baby Asa. And he took a late nap today. So he's not tired now. He just woke up. I just fed him. And so he's just hanging out with me here on the floor, and hopefully he cooperates. But you know, if he gets too tired or whatever, I will pick him up, and then when it's time to feed him, I'll probably just end the live at that point. But anyway, yes, that is who I am. That's what my channel is about, and we're going to get started on the first thing now. Engorgement really just comes with the territory if you're a breastfeeding mom, and if you plan on breastfeeding in the future. It's basically engorgement is when you hey Yana. Hope I didn't wake you up. Oh, thank you for joining the live. So basically engorgement is when your breasts feel really full of milk, and that usually happens. Love the look, great topic. Thank you, girlfriend. Thank you. So this is one of the topics where I have combined them because I kind of do feel like they go hand in hand, because engorgement can be painful. It is painful for most women, but it is, like I said, something that you're going to experience if you're breastfeeding. So when your mature milk comes in, so thanks. So those first few days of breastfeeding, you have colostrum, and like I said, no, I'm not sure if I said it on here. I think I said in a Facebook post. So those first few days, colostrum is what you have, and that's all that you need for your baby, and it is sufficient for your baby. And then your transitional milk will come in a few days after birth, and then after that will be your full and mature milk. So that is when you will feel your engorgement happening, and it's really just like this big heavy feeling as your breasts come in and your body adjusts to, you know, the feeding schedule of your baby. So there are a couple of ways that you can kind of alleviate engorgement, but engorgement is actually a good thing. It is something that you want to, it is something to expect, and it is something that means that, you know, you have your mature milk now. Hey mom, thanks for joining the live. So it is a good thing, even though it is uncomfortable and it can be painful for mom. So you usually will experience engorgement, I want to say, definitely sometime during that first week. I think I read up to about 10 days you can experience, and it really is just your body's way of producing the amount of milk that that baby needs. That, you know, if you've been putting the baby to breast often, your body will adjust to how much milk your baby needs and the time period and frequency that your baby eats. Oh, thank you so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta put on 7 different outfits. um, but yeah, so your body will adjust, but before it adjusts, it does kind of like fill up and make an oversupply. At least for me, like I tend to oversupply anyway. I'm just one of those people, and I do feed on demand, so that might be one of the reasons why. But I can overproduce really easily for me, so that is one of the reasons why I don't pump, because pumping actually exacerbates that issue for me. So that's one of the reasons why I don't. But when you're dealing with engorgement, like that first week, the first 2 weeks, let's say the first 2 weeks, and you have that engorgement, there are a couple of things you can do to alleviate, you know, that pressure and that buildup and that uncomfortable feeling while your mature milk is coming in. And one of the things is warm compresses. So you can do this with like a rag. You can wet a rag, get it, I wouldn't say it too hot, but get it warm enough as you can, or as hot as you can stand it, and you can place that on your breast. You can do that before you feed. It's a really good way to kind of release that milk and let that milk flow before your baby gets on. It really helps, and it really does feel like it really does feel good for you as mom. And then another thing, and I know my mom kind of like swore by this when she had us when she was breastfeeding, is getting in the shower and just letting that warm water hit directly on your breast. So just standing under the shower head. If you have a detachable one, you can just point it directly to your breast and letting that warm water hit, and that will help the milk to come down and flow. As well, sometimes with engorgement, the milk can get stuck just because the breasts are so full. And I'm not sure if a lot of people know that, but the ducts that make your breast milk or produce your breast milk, hold your breast milk, go all the way up into your arm, into your, under your arm. So if you're having engorgement, you can feel it all the way up there. And it can be really uncomfortable. So, a warm compress will help to bring that milk down for you. So you can do this before you feed your baby to encourage that milk down, and you definitely can do it afterwards. And another good thing, or another good way to help with engorgement, is basically just letting your baby eat as often as he or she wants to eat, getting them to nurse as often as you can, and letting them stay on as long as they please, or as long as they can, because that will help your body to get rid of the extra milk. Also helps your body create, like I was saying before, that schedule and that pattern for how much this baby needs, how often this baby is eating. But when your breasts fill up with all that milk, it helps to get that relief when you're eating. So as often as you can put your baby to breast, definitely do that. Another thing that you can do is massaging the breast tissue. So you can do this before feedings, you can do this afterwards, in the middle of feedings also as well. Sometimes breast milk does get stuck, and like I was saying, it does go up into your underarms. Oh, hey, Dad. Nice to see you on the live, too. I missed you all last night, but I was like, I know some people are at church and they're busy, so, I understand. But, yeah, massaging while you're nursing is really, really great to just let that milk come down to where it needs to. As your baby is nursing, they'll get that fore milk first. So that milk that's right there, closest to the nipple, they'll get that first. And as they continue to suck, and then they get into, more full and fatty milk, and it's usually a little bit higher up. So the longer your baby eats, the more milk you can get out the breast to help alleviate, that engorgement. And then the last thing you can do is some cold compresses. So and you can do this a number of ways. You can do this with ice packs. You can do this with, like, if you have, I know you've seen like people using frozen peas or whatever you have around, you could put on there, and that will help with the pain and with the swelling. So these are all a number of things that you can do while you are experiencing your engorgement. But I want to make note that engorgement doesn't last forever, or at least it shouldn't last forever. There are some other times during your breastfeeding journey where you may experience engorgement. So let's say there's a couple of times. So in the beginning, when your mature milk is coming in, you will experience engorgement. If your baby is about to go into a growth spurt or is in a growth spurt, you may experience some engorgement there too, because typically they eat a little bit more for those growth spurts or to prepare for those growth spurts. Also, when they're sick, they may eat a little bit more. You may experience, a bit of engorgement there as well. But when they start sleeping through the night for the first time, or they start sleeping like longer stretches of time, you definitely you definitely will experience engorgement. And I'm laughing at this because I remember the first time that happened to me, like the first time, say, I slept through the night, so more than like 6 hours. No, maybe it was about like 6 to 8 hours. And I just woke up in pain. Like, I just woke up in pain, and I think the pain is the thing that woke me up, actually. And I'm like, what? And I just jumped up out of bed, and I couldn't figure out, because I'm still sleeping, I'm still drowsy. I'm like, what's going on? And then I noticed my boobs really hurt, and I'm looking at her, and she's sleeping peacefully. She's sleeping so nice and calm. Engorgement, yes. If you're a breastfeeding mom, you will experience engorgement. There's really no way around it. But like I said, it's a good thing. You do want to experience engorgement. That means your mature milk has come in, and your baby will now be getting all that good fatty milk that you want your baby to have. Because you do want your milk to transition. You know, if you plan on breastfeeding, you do want your milk to transition from colostrum. If you're not breastfeeding, then of course you'll go through different avenues to keep or kind of suppress that full milk from coming in. But yes, once your placenta detaches and you're done making your doneness stages, or the times of making the colostrum, your mature milk comes in, you're gonna feel that. You'll notice it. I would say most moms will notice it because they just feel really full and really heavy. So yeah, when your baby starts sleeping through the night, that, like I said, breastfeeding is I want to say one of my biggest tips that I give to mom is to feed it on demand. But you know, when you put your baby to breast, you're telling your breast how much milk to make. And also on the flip side, when you're not putting your baby to breast, and you're telling your breast not to make that milk. So when they sleep in the night for the first time, if they're a baby that's been eating, you know, every 2 hours, every 3 hours, that's how often your breast will fill up with milk. So if they miss that feeding, you'll feel engorgement, because you know, if you go like 6 hours and you're used to eating every 2 hours, your breasts have filled up like 2 or 3 times in that time period. So when they start sleeping through the night, it takes a while for your body to adjust. It will adjust eventually, but it does take a while. So those first few days may be a little bit uncomfortable for you as mom, as your breast adjusts to a new sleeping schedule for your baby. So engorgement is kind of something that really does come with the territory of breastfeeding. What I do personally, I don't really do like the warm compresses. Sometimes I will massage. Like if it's like really stuck up under my arm, I will massage that area. And like I said, I tend to overproduce, so I don't want to do anything that's going to encourage me to make more milk. I just kind of want to be able to deal with the uncomfortable feeling while I am making the milk that my baby needs. So I do that. And in the first days, I would say like the first 3 months or so, I pretty much keep my bra on at all times, because I feel like that helps. It doesn't like, it kind of helps to just make me feel a little bit more comfortable. When I don't have it on and I'm experiencing engorgement, I feel like it hurts a little bit more. And of course, you may have leaky breasts, especially if you miss a feeding, or you know, you're not able to get to your baby fast enough. And their feeding is a little bit delayed, then that's when your breast can leak a lot, at least a lot in the beginning, while your body is trying to, you know, regulate itself and learn how much milk that baby needs, or babies if you have, you know, more than one child. So yeah, that's usually how I deal with that. I just keep my bra on, and then I keep my nipple pads, so to collect, you know, any leaking milk. And so I just keep that on day and night, and that usually helps me to alleviate, you know, that uncomfortable full feeling of being engorged. But oh yeah, I want to point out though that engorgement feeling doesn't last. So, you know, after day 10, where it really kind of peaks, you know, your body does settle in, your body does understand what it needs to do, your body will produce however much milk that baby needs, but you won't feel engorged forever. But I just want to encourage you, when you're not feeling that feeling, don't feel like you're not producing enough, because your body will do what it needs to do for you and that baby. As often as you're putting the baby to breast, that's how much your body will make, or that's how much milk your body will make. But you won't feel engorged all the time. So don't think just because you're not feeling engorged that you're not producing enough milk. In most cases, you are producing enough milk. It's just your body has adjusted, and so you don't have that super heavy feeling anymore, but your body is still producing the milk that you need for that baby. Okay? So I think that's everything I want to say on engorgement. Let me just check on the baby real quick. You all right? He's playing with his turtle, so hopefully he's happy for a little while longer. So what is the next thing we're going to talk about? Oh, pain during breastfeeding. This one is a little, I think I talked about this before in like a full video, but they say you shouldn't experience pain during breastfeeding, and I agree with that mostly. If your baby is latched correctly, if your baby doesn't have any lip or tongue ties, you shouldn't experience pain. I want to say shouldn't, because with like, you know, an asterisk around it, because every woman's body is different and every woman's, you know, pain tolerance is different. We see that even with birth. So I don't want to say you won't experience no pain at all, because that's kind of not true. Like I said, with the thrush, you're experiencing some pain, but it's usually, I guess I should say, when you're experiencing some pain with breastfeeding, it's usually caused by something. It's usually an issue, another issue going on, rather than it just being painful. And I know that can be a little discouraging, especially for moms who have never breastfed before, that everyone talks about pain and breastfeeding. And I want to say, like, outside of certain instances, I don't have pain during breastfeeding. I have pain with the thrush. And like I said, engorgement to me was just uncomfortable. Not really painful per se, just uncomfortable. And I will say though that I did experience pain in the beginning of my breastfeeding journey with this baby, with my fourth, because he does have a little, like a slight little tongue tie. And when he was born, he wasn't really big. So he was 5 pounds, 11 ounces, I think. So it wasn't a big baby at all, and his mouth was smaller. So he had to work harder to get his whole entire mouth around the nipple and the areola, which is what you want, you know, when you're breastfeeding. So I didn't have like problems with supply or anything like that. I know that he was getting milk out because he was gaining weight. But it was painful for me though. And I did hear another mom talking about this, and she was saying that her son also had, I think, a lip tie, so at the top. And she was experiencing pain. So, you know, they recommended that she get it clipped. And she got it clipped, and she said, but she still was experiencing pain, and she said it ended up growing back. So she kind of wished that she hadn't gotten it done. Now for me, I'm not even sure if I brought it up to the doctor. I'm not really sure. I just knew, you know, I looked in his mouth myself and saw it. So it wasn't like diagnosed by the pediatrician. And I didn't feel the need to have him get it clipped. I just didn't feel the need to put him through that pain. And his is not really severe. But I was in pain in the beginning, and I think a lot of my pain was, yes, because of his slight tongue tie, but also just because I was in a lot of physical pain after the birth in general. So it was like my skin just hurt, like everything hurt from my head to my toes, everything hurt. So that was just like another way that my body was like recovering from the birth. It was really painful. So yeah, I chalked it up to that. But all that to say that if your baby is latched correctly, right, and doesn't have any lip ties, doesn't have any tongue ties, and you don't have like thrush or mastitis or something like that, then you shouldn't be experiencing pain. And a lot of pain sometimes just comes from incorrect latch. Like you really have to make sure that that baby is on the whole entire nipple, and a lot of the skin around the nipple as well. And I talked about this in another video that I made probably like 2 years ago, and I can link that video if you want to see like exactly like there's this acronym. I think it's latch, and I think it's lips, areola, tongue, cheeks, and head. I think that's right. But I will link it. But you just want to make sure that all of those things are in the right position, in the right position, and that you don't have any issues as far as like the baby's physical mouth goes. Let's see, what was I saying about the latch? That is important, because if your latch is shallow, or if the baby's latch is shallow, it will hurt, because at that point they're really just sucking on the nipple. And most times they won't get out enough milk in those cases, and then, you know, they're not emptying their breast, so then you're not producing enough, and that can lead to a whole host of other problems. I am going to talk about supply sometime during this week, because that is a big one with breastfeeding. But yeah, that latch has to be around the whole entire nipple and areola. And one way to know that is by, you kind of will feel like a suction. It kind of will feel like a suction. If you're a pumping mom, you know that sensation that I'm talking about, but you'll feel a suction. And one of the things that I always do, you know, just to make sure my babies are getting milk, is to look at their ears. If they're swallowing and, you know, your jaw's connected to your ears, you will see their ears move up and down. And you also can hear your baby swallowing to know that they're getting milk as well. And that's why I say for breastfeeding moms, especially in those early days while you're trying to learn how to breastfeed, and your baby's trying to learn how to breastfeed, try to do it in a quiet and calm, pace and space so you can really look at your baby, and really like know the hi, nice to see you on here. Nice to see you. Alexandra Lawson, hi too. Um, so really kind of like learn your baby. And I think I posted on Facebook that breastfeeding, yes, is natural, but for most moms it's a skill. It's a skill that needs to be learned. There's certain things that you got to learn about breastfeeding that you may not know. You may not know what a proper latch feels like. And if you were never if your baby was never put on properly, you may think that their shallow latch is okay. You may think that that's how things are supposed to feel or supposed to be, and that's not the case. And that's why I say with the pain issue, women's bodies are different, so your nipple sensitivity may be different. My son is 3 months. Oh, nice! Congratulations. Mine is almost 6 months on Tuesday. Hit a like, guys. Yes, thank you for that. I always forget to say that. But yes, if you like this video, if you like this channel, if you like hearing more about breastfeeding, definitely like these videos because it helps YouTube to know who to push these videos out to. Oh, is it glitching on that side? Oh man, let me see. Can you all see okay, or is it like messing up? Because it looks a little messed up here on my end. I don't know if I should keep going. Uh-oh. Okay, just let me know in the comments how it's looking on your end. Oh gosh. Everything should be fine. I don't see why it's messing up. Or does it look like, what's the word? Does it look like it's kind of glitching or something? I'm gonna check real quick. I don't know if it's because I'm logged onto both accounts right now. If it's reason, what was I saying about? Oh, it is? Oh no. Okay. Let me just check and see the connection. Okay. I wonder if I should, if I turn that off, what would happen? Okay, I'm going to try to refresh this. Oh no. Okay, maybe I don't know what to do at this point. I don't know if I should try to redo it or not. Okay, maybe Okay. If you can still hear me, at least I will try to redo it and come right back, and hopefully we can figure out this situation. So let me log off.